It'll be on for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. We got 2 minutes, everybody. You better tune in now and friggin' ask your questions right away, because this is
post, comment, ask, like, share,
quickie.
and go to bed. I don't know what time it is where you live.
As compared to most of our episodes on here, which are 2 hours. We got 2 minutes now. Speed round. That's about how long I last most nights for nighttime
exercise.
Exercise. If I'm exercising at night.
Yeah.
Public. There we go. Cool. We're out here. There we are. What's up, Sid Graef? Welcome to Home Service Happy Hour. What's up?
Thank you very much. What do you do at happy hour?
Have a drink. I got a little whiskey and 7-Up in here. I was low on beers in the fridge.
Okay. Nice. A little goes a long way, but a lot goes a really long way.
I have one beer. I have one beer on standby. It's in my red cooler. Oh, look at my coordination, Sid.
Yeah.
I'm dialed.
You are stat.
So I got a backup beer. I got a backup beer ready to go. What do we want to talk about tonight? We got like a year's worth of catching up to do. We definitely got to talk some huge convention stuff. We should probably talk some Sid Graef, what's going on in your world with your businesses, what you're seeing, what you're liking, what you're not liking. We got to give some tickets away for sure.
Okay.
Tyler Starkey checking in. The renowned author Tyler Starkey checking in. What's up, Tyler? Good to hear from you.
That's a pretty cool thing to be able to put by your name, Tyler. You go like published author.
Have you written a book yet, Sid? I feel like you should have written 6 books by now.
I know. I actually started to. Follow through is not a strength of mine necessarily. And somebody's like, you could have AI write a book. And I'm like, yeah. But no. Like, of course you can have AI write a book, but that's not me writing a book.
Yeah. Yeah. I struggle with that too. It's like, could I write one? Yeah. There will be a time. There'll be a time. I think it's the right time. Now's not the right time.
Yeah.
Someday will be the right time. I'm no Tyler Starkey. I'm not Tyler Starkey yet, but I aspire to be. But AI is gonna make that weird, because I feel like we're all just gonna have like, is it real vibe going on? Like, we're always gonna be questioning, like, is this real? Is it really them? Or is it
for sure? So I've done a monthly newsletter for quite a while for our service business in Montana, and it's been, it's me because it's not consistent. Like, it's usually on the 1st or maybe on the 10th, or skip a month, but it's like we have a monthly newsletter monthly. And
it comes out for 5 months every once in a while during a month.
Yeah. And last September, I just, I always write it, and because I just have a little message, and you got your own voice. And I took it and I'm like, I'm going to run this through ChatGPT and clean it up. And I use the hell out of ChatGPT and a bunch of AI tools I really love. I'm a fan, but I ran it through, cleaned it up. It put emojis in it, did the whole thing. It reformatted. I was like, this looks crisp. I sent it out, and I probably had 20 people message me and like, damn, Sid, this is the best one you've ever done. This is the best newsletter you've written. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be really offended or really excited, because AI upped my game. But once in a while, when I publish one, I'll make sure and put, written by me, not AI. If I don't even run it through.
But AI is going to start saying that, right? It's going to double down on pretending to not be AI. My brother-in-law and I were having a conversation, and I said, part of the reason I like doing home service happy hour is just like pure Dan. Just pure Dan, BSing with business owners, goofing around, drinking drinks, talking smart, talking about some business stuff, mostly not. And I like that because it's not easy for like an AI to replicate, right? It's not by the book. It's inconsistent. It's all over the place. And he's like, oh, you think so? And I was like, yeah, probably not. I just don't know well enough. And within like 2 prompts, he had it having a dialogue with itself. And I was like, yeah, fuck, that's pretty much me. Like, everything it said was like, it picked me off. And he's like, yeah, if you are on the internet, it's got all of you figured out from everything you've ever put in about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, it's got all of Dan built into it. And like, his second prompt was just be a little bit less serious and a little bit more like Dan. Like, that was literally his second prompt, and it nailed it the second time. I was like, wow, it knew how to be a little bit more like me. That was scary.
Okay.
I thought I was off the wall enough, but
did he have to give it context, like to go, which Dan?
It knew. He just said Dan and like referenced bookkeeping, beer and BS, and home service happy hour. So like, it knew where to go to get to hear what I sound like. and
Okay.
it figured me out pretty quick. It was equally full of shit. I don't know if it had any swear words in it though. That's how you would know. If there's no swear words in it, then you know it wasn't me.
It's definitely fake. I was playing with setting up AI voice avatars the other day, and I couldn't get it to replicate my voice in a way that was reliable. So I just started going through and picking other voices and stuff in it, because it's one of message things for a broadcast for like that goes out to several thousand people, not just my little business here in town. And did some homework, and they're like, a female voice with a light Irish accent gets the best response. So I find one, and of course I made it say very inappropriate things because I'm basically.
Well, you got to test it. You got to just fact check it, test it out. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: since you're interviewing me, what's one thing you've learned about business in the last week or two that just surprised you?
Nothing really surprised me the last week or two. I can't say I was surprised.
Or maybe it made you go, I know this. Why am I not doing that?
I got nothing, man. Nothing. But also, I was totally checked out last week because I was 4th of July and I was busy drinking beer and hanging out at the lake. It did reaffirm that I love. It wasn't anything new, but it's your beliefs either get challenged or reaffirmed whenever you're pushing something. And so it reaffirmed that I truly enjoy the half work, half play. That's where I'm in my sweet spot, is when I'm hunting or fishing and working, kind of all wrapped up in the same time. Not like a hard stop, pure vacation mode, and then get back into work. I actually don't enjoy that much. Wow. I like working a little bit and playing a little bit and doing them not necessarily all at the same time, but a little bit of both. And every day is my perfect day. Yeah,
you mix it back and forth. How does that juxtapose that with Stephen Kotler talks about flow state? And when you're in flow state, trigger about your mountain biking, when you're coming down hard and you've got a challenging trail, you're your mind closes in where you can't have distractions or you could kill yourself. Right. Yeah. And so that's what is typically associated with flow state, when you're so completely engrossed in one thing, and you experience time dilation, and it just shifts where you're you're doing the thing for it. Maybe this live shows, because you mentioned sometimes you go for 2 hours, you just get wrapped up in it and you forget to look at the clock, and you're
look at it oh man, we're only 20 minutes in, and then you look at it and you're oh shit, we're 2 hours in. I probably got to pee. You probably got to go to bed.
Yeah. So I wonder how that works. It's interesting, because we all have not biodiversity, but you've got to wait neurodiversity, things that make you click and tick. Yeah, I know. You didn't realize this is AI Sid.
Yeah, you're actually not there. This is just
real Sid doesn't know big words. But yeah, to go, I kind of like to dabble both, and that's what makes me happiest, and therefore makes you more effective.
Yeah. It's I think it's a part of being a small business owner too, is that we all have this knack of trying to do way too much. Yeah. And so you're trying to dial in the propensity you have to do that with how you best accomplish things within that joy of chaos. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't really like systems and processes, albeit I know they are super valuable and that my team needs systems and processes. I don't like them. I don't like creating them, and I sure as hell don't like following them. Yeah. I know they're really valuable. And so trying to position it so I get to work on just the outskirts of those is pretty ideal.
Yeah.
For me, it's very much a do as I say, not as I do type of situation, which I understand can be a bit of a conundrum, but
yeah, but it's fair. And I'm very much that way. I don't like people holding me accountable, but I want everyone else held accountable.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fun, right?
We with that, with living on the outside of the boundaries that you set for everyone else, one of the things that's been very effective for me is just to not be there. That way nobody knows that I'm not doing what I say everybody should do, because I'm not there.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I guess that's my problem with a digital business, is nobody's there, but everybody's there all at the same time. That's okay. How about you? Same question back to you. Anything preponderous, anything astounding that struck you in the last couple weeks to to throw you for a loop or send you down a path?
Yeah, down a path. So one of the guys that I interviewed very recently, he's the lead sales trainer, or he is the sales trainer, the sales manager for Grant Cardone's operations. And it's like a $300 million company. And so he's the key sales trainer. And I asked him about, because I had an experience with, like, I filled out a form, I got a call, set an appointment, went through a sales pitch, bought the training, installed it in our stuff, the satisfaction people. It was like, I noticed I dealt with like 6 different people in Cardone. And I was like, oh my God, they have a culture that is hardwired for winning and positivity. So I asked him about that. I'm like, how is that culture not only developed, but enforced and reinforced? And he said, he gave me quite an answer, but the main thing, it just comes back to, and my ops manager and I were working on this today. It's like, you have to have written policies. Like, it's got to be written down. If you do this, this is what happens. And it's good or bad. And it goes, this is what's expected of you. And here's where the context came up. We have, sometimes in the summer, we have a little lull. We get super busy in May and June, it's window cleaning, and then it'll flatten.
July 4th hits, and all of a sudden it's like, where did everybody go?
I know. It's like everything just stopped. Like somebody shut off the hose. I'm like, whoa. And so we have like door hangers, and like, all right, everybody grab a stack of 200 door hangers. You get this neighborhood. And we got quite a bit of pushback. I'm like, no. This is part of the job. Like, you can go home and not work, and you might want that now, but when you get your paycheck, you'll wish you had. But this is part of the job. It's part of what's expected. And everybody's like, I never signed up for that. You trained me to clean windows. Not everybody. We had some pushback. It wasn't a big deal. But he goes, no, you write it down clear as crystal clear from the beginning. Everybody gets it. Everybody reads it. Everybody signs off on it. And everybody knows this is the deal. And then it can never be subjective. And I'm like, duh. Because we've made light years of improvement in the last decade of having written policies, having, a manual handbook, a training, so that things are systematized and standardized. But it's still, I was like, we have to tighten this up. And I can't believe it, because I always think when we hit this, when we fix this and we put it in the package, then it's going to be smooth sailing, baby, because we'll never need to do anything else. It's done. And we get that and run it for a while, and they're like, all that does is heighten the awareness to go, oh, we need to go to here. And then next
it's Michael Gregory had said something to me, and it was a quote from Alex Hormozy, but essentially along the lines of, the minute you solve a problem, or the minute you solve a problem and have that solution, you create another problem, which is usually a harder problem to solve. But there's never not a problem. Just if you solve a marketing problem, you tend to have a recruiting problem, or a capital asset problem, or a sales problem, or whatever the case is. You're every time you fix something, it stresses another part of your business, and the faster you can solve problems, the faster you level up and grow the way you want to.
Hormozy's a funny name.
Super funny.
When I hear it, I think of Hormone, who's like the hormone guy. And so, which
he kind of is that too.
He's the steroid hormone guy. So what's the difference between an enzyme and a hormone?
Ooh, there's a good dad joke in here somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah. You can't hear an enzyme. Is this a family show? Can you say that?
Of course not.
Okay. Course not. Good. We just went to 0 people live. I can't believe it.
No, I love it. That's my kind of joke.
Yeah, we go.
So I think on the recruiting side, setting expectations is so important in that regard of making sure they know what they signed up for. Yeah. When I interview people, I don't even ask them any questions anymore. I just set expectations. It's like a sales call. I'm the salesperson. I don't ask them any questions. But I think it's the same. I do when I do sales calls with customers. I ask them a lot of questions because I need to know about their business. But it's not really a sale. It's an expectation setting. And on either side, whether it's internal customers or external customers, whether it's employees or your clients, it all just comes down to setting expectations. And so the more you can do that, however it is that obviously documenting it helps, because then you can point back to it for accountability purposes. Yeah. But it's just always the case that the better expectation you set, the easier it is to move forward. because if those guys had known, right, and I'm just like, I'm not dogging on you for this, but if those, because this is just what happens in our business, as we evolve, we find new things. But if those guys had known that was what they signed up for, they'd either be like, yep, or they'd be stoked about it because there'd be an expectation of you get to do this and you can make that and blah, 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 blah. But it's when something happens that was unexpected that even if it's not a bad thing, people just tend to have an adverse reaction to the old, like, moving their cheese sort of thing. Yeah. Even if it's something that's good for them, they're like, this isn't what I signed up for. It's like, well, you signed up to work at the business and this is part of the business, but maybe we got to set better expectations on the front end so you know exactly what you signed up for.
Yeah.
And if you're cleaning windows, if you're doing exterior cleaning anywhere in the world, you're working in a seasonal business, and sometimes you're going to be working 60 hours a week and sometimes you're going to be working 20. And when you're working 20, I'm going to try to fill up the other 20 with something else for you to do, which might include some door hangers, some door knocking, some shaking hands and kissing babies.
All that stuff. So funny
wearing
story.
The mascot suit. You're going to start wearing the Spectrum mascot suit. You're going out.
That's it.
Spinning signs. You're spinning signs. Wearing the mascot suit.
We're going to dress you up like the air inflated thing that goes, the flappy thing out by the car.
Just so you know, the mascot suit is a bald headed, skin shaved head, black glasses, kind of a goatee mustache thing. Yeah. That's our mascot. He goes by the name of Sid. And you're wearing an 8-foot Sid suit. You're wearing the 8-foot Sid suit. You're spinning signs, and you're doing this thing. You're blowing back.
You're flopping
That's
around.
What you signed up for. It was in the fine print.
Did you read the fine print? It was right there. I can't believe it.
It was in there.
This year when we were doing our spring hire, we only had to hire 4 or 5 people. Like, we had 100% retention rate, so we just hired new people to grow. And
that's the best.
I was very excited about that. We lost one guy, but he left our window cleaning company to work for our car detailing company. So we didn't really lose him. He just migrated.
But as a free agent switch.
The first dozen people that came in for the group interview, not all at once, but it's over several days. I was sitting in them with my ops manager and stuff so I could hand that off, and they would do all the interviews. And no kidding, out of 12, 9 of them were ginger, redhead. And like, I'm fine, but I was like, statistically, this can't happen. And I really,
were you at a redhead convention before this, and you all were like corresponding and signed up for this together? How did this happen?
I literally reread my ad to see if I had said something in there that there's like, yeah, we should apply. We're redhead. And I was like, nope, nothing there. That, and with expectations, one guy showed up. He's my age. He's over 55.
Well, I was going to say in his mid-30s.
Yeah, mid-30s or 55, whatever, grandfather. And he's like, he weighs easy 370. He's like a big guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm all excited about this window. It'll be a new opportunity. And I asked him a couple questions. He was there early. I appreciate that. But I said, look, I'm not going to guess your weight, but I am going to say that everybody here has to work on a ladder that's rated for 250 pounds. And if you're over that, you can't, we can't hire you. It's not personal. It's just, we have OSHA and safety. And he's like, well, I'm easily more than that by 100. And I'm like, well, it's nice to meet you, but what did you think you were coming to?
How are your car detailing skills, by the way? Yeah.
I was like, and he's like, well, I'm still really interested. Well, it turned out at his favorite diner where he was eating the 18 biscuits and gravy with extra sausage special, he was sitting there and he watched a guy that just like, the guy that rides up on the bicycle and cleans the window real slow.
Oh, yeah,
he's like, wow, that looks easy. That'd be fun. I could be outside. And then he applied. And I'm like, this is terrible.
Not a good reason. The number one, like, if this was a Dave Letterman top 10 type of list, when it got to number one reason, like the worst thing somebody could say in a job interview, I applied to this job because I thought it'd be easy.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't ever say that. Just don't say that. No employer ever wants you to hear, I think your work is really easy, so I want to work here because I'm wildly unmotivated and just looking to make money sitting around. Please hire me.
I think we should implement like the second interview for people that like this guy's a future felon, and you go and you just show up at this address for your second interview at 8 a.m. but you have to knock on the door to be let in and like send them to the county detention or something. Like, give the wrong address.
It's actually a psych eval so that the authorities can keep an eye on him. He just doesn't know it. Like, flags up. Flags went up.
Yeah, that's fair.
So let me hit you with this, because this is a thing that I'm seeing in all the businesses that I work with. And it's you already hit on it, like the seasonality of, you hit that summer lull and you're trying to keep some demand, partially to keep demand for the bank account, but also just to keep your crew busy, because in 2-3 months you're gonna be busy as hell again. How has the year progressed for you in exterior cleaning? Has it been business as usual? Has it been fine growth? I'm seeing a lot of companies that have stalled out a little bit, just demand a little bit lower. You're in a unique market where you have a majority of the market share. So I don't know if that comes into play for you as much or not, but what have you seen in the exterior cleaning space specifically this year?
Okay. So of course, very anecdotal. This is just about our company. So we set a goal. So I did something different this year. Like, we set a goal for 60% revenue growth. And we've been growing like 10 to 15% a year. It's just steady and organic.
Yeah.
And
like, 60% is aggressive.
Yeah. Especially at, we're already at $1 million, and we're like, okay, let's go. And, but I gave the team the goal. I gave my ops manager the goal, and we set a few things in place. We didn't go market heavy. We trained to capture more of that high demand that happens in spring. So we had enough crew, enough capacity. And so March, April, May, June, we beat our revenue goal every month. We're at 61.45% as of today's meeting over last year. And one thing that's interesting a couple of things. One, June, we had our first $200,000 month, and
sweet, dude.
First time around. I was like, okay. Yeah. I was very excited, because we had 1 week, we did $56,000 in a week. And I was so excited because my third year in business, my annual revenue for the year was $56,000. Okay. That was Bucket Bob Sid, but I was like just hustling. And I thought it was king of the world. It was like 56 grand. I didn't even understand that I didn't keep that money, even though I knew it, because
I made 56 grand. That was back in the day where I made 56 grand.
Yeah. So that was big. And then we put a lot of emphasis on, and one of my quarterly rocks has been, August has always got the lull. That's the biggest summer dip, and was to go book $130,000 for August. Last year, I think we did 72,000. So I was basically just double that. And I'm like, we'll be good. And so I've been putting all my attention on that. I got a couple of nice big contracts at the university, stuck them in August, and we're just crushing through June. And we did a short week last week, and everybody's packed. They're so thankful for a 4-day weekend. We show up Monday meeting yesterday, day before yesterday. And our office admin has a full week off. She's not there. She's the one that manages the schedule and everything. So I asked my production manager, I said, how's everybody looking, how the jobs for today? He said, there's no work. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, there's nothing on the schedule. I'm like, whoa.
It's all out in August.
Did you check everybody? And he's like, yeah. He's like, team one has like $800. So we do, $2,000 a day per team. And we got 5 teams. Yes. Monday we had 4 teams. Everybody showed up at 7:30. They're ready to work. They looked at their jobber on their phone and saw there was nothing on there. But they're at the meeting.
Jobber's broke.
That's what I have not been caught flat-footed like that in years. And I was like, wait, what? There's nothing? I'm like, how can it can't? We were doing, $50,000 last week. How is there no work this week? And it's exactly what you said. It's like, I've been pushing everything to August on my end, and we have a trickle in for July. And I was like, holy shit, weird. So I scrambled and made sure we were booked full the next day. And today it was probably 70% full day, but that's where the conversation for, here's a stack of door hangers, here's your neighborhood, go for a walk. And I gave them a little bonus. As like, if you do XYZ and you put out this many, they get paid a percentage of their job.
Yeah.
But when they're doing other work like door hangers, they just get a flat $20 an hour. And so they view that as a pay cut. But I put in a bonus where I was like, yeah, if you just do this, you're going to make $30 an hour. And they're like, if somebody said, Sid, I'll pay you $30 an hour to go take a walk in the neighborhood, I'm like, give me the stack. I'm going.
Yeah, dude, $30 an hour to go for a walk. I go for walks despite making money to lose money.
Yeah, so that was an interesting turn. And I was like, oh, I can't believe I overlooked making sure July was full I skipped a month. So that's causing some interesting gyrations right now.
Yeah. And it's funny how you can like round up some excitement around something and people get so focused on that, right? Like the team is so focused on filling up August, like they're just going and they're filling it up. But no one stopped to look at July. Like, oh, we got to do this month first. Wait a second. Isn't there a month between June and August? But did something happen that July went away, or are we doing July again this year? But so I was talking with Michael Gregory on the radio show today, and he had this is a thing I've seen for years. As our business has gotten bigger, and we've kind of had the same thing where in May and June we can sniff 200,000. The higher we get, the lower the summer floor is.
Really,
the bigger the difference. And I could never quite put my finger on it. Besides that, the demand in the spring is like almost unlimited. Same with the fall; it's almost unlimited. Like you can always add more crews to do more work in the spring because that's when everybody wants it done. And so you end up kind of like pulling demand from other times that otherwise maybe would have went in the summer, but you get it done in the spring because they want it done in the spring, which kind of artificially deflates the summer months. It moves demand forward out of the summer. And one of the other points that Michael had made that was really interesting is all the chucking their trucks out there hit a baseline of revenue, and they tend to hit that baseline of revenue every month. They don't have those same swings. So Chuck is out doing 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, whatever he can do. Maybe with the helper, he's doing 30. And he's just doing that every single month. And he has his like book of business and his repeat clients, and he does some of them here and some of them there. And maybe his busy month is a little bit bigger than his slowest month, but like that summer lull doesn't happen to him. So now you just like raise the baseline of any chuck in their truck is going to keep absorbing that much demand in the marketplace. And the bigger companies are going to absorb the spikes because the bigger company can staff up for that spring spike to handle all the demand. But it's an artificially created spike because if you took the industry curve, it's not as big of a drop because the floor of the chuck and the trucks can keep their 20, 30 grand a month that they can produce. And they hold it every month. Whereas the bigger companies absorb this huge swing. And I was like, that's a really interesting point.
So that's a great point. We did something. So my goal starting January was fill August because March, April, June, or May, if that other month that's in there.
You skip May. Yeah. You were skipping July. Now you're trying to skip
July. Those are going to happen anyway. But what we did is we reviewed all our commercial contracts, and like anybody that just gets cleaned once a year, so far they all want it in May. And I just contacted them all. Like, if we move you to August, here's what we'll do. Like, you stay in August
instead of raise it 30%.
Yeah. Right. Somebody's like, will you give them a big discount? And I said, how about this? I'll just give them a price guarantee, a price fix for 3 years, as long as they stay in August. So we didn't lower the price, but we didn't raise it in the future. And we had, I don't know, not that much, 25,000 that said, okay, we'll move to August for that. Thank you. Yeah, but I knew
it helps, but you fill that 25 up back in May immediately.
Like yeah. It just gave us more capacity that I knew was going to fill. And we still guaranteed we were losing work that we didn't have the capacity for, even though we had more capacity than anybody.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You're like, okay. It's like when the fish are running, that's the best time to fish. You don't even have to try. You just pull them out. You just reach in the river and get them.
Throw it in there. And there's got to be a ceiling to it, but I think the overflow of May and June, like that just dips into July. So you can do more in May and June, but you start artificially pulling demand forward. And I don't know that any is good or bad. The hard part is the capacity side, which is now what do you do in a slower month where demand got pulled forward and you got the crews to keep busy, which the thing that I do and that you're doing is now you got to go boots on the ground. The clicks are going down. People aren't looking, but and I've mentioned this on a few shows, all of our data for like years and years and years says acquisition cost gets worse because there's less clicks. Cost, like more people trying to buy less clicks, so the cost per click goes up for anything digital. But conversion rates don't go down. So
interesting.
The propensity of people to buy is the same. People are just as willing to buy. They're just too busy to look. Because once you get in July and August, it's like full blown summer mode. People go in June, but the phone calls slow down in June. The phone calls are hottest in like April, May. The work is in May and June. In the back half of June, after kind of like grad party season, the phone slows down a little bit, and then it really starts to take a halt July 4th and kind of like into August before after Labor Day, it starts picking back up is what I've seen.
Okay.
The farther north you are, the more extreme this is too. Like if you're farther south, it's not as extreme, but the farther north, it's more extreme.
You would think the southern states would be more extreme. I mean, that's the whole Civil War thing.
You're right. In that case, you're dead on. But other than that, but no. So it's like there's this like tipping balance where people aren't searching, but they are just as likely to buy. You just have to go out in front of them. You just can't wait for them to search for you. You got to go get in front of them. So whether you're door knocking, door hanging, putting letters on doors, kidnapping people and like old school style, throwing them in your van until they sign up for a window cleaning, whatever you got to do. Yeah.
Okay. Two quick things that you touch on that, like one, we focused really heavy this year or in May with every May we do a review contest with our team. And we put $500 up as a prize and we do all this stuff, and we pay people a perk if their name gets mentioned in the review, and it goes really well. We had 486 reviews on May 1st, and now we're at like by June 15th. I mean, it carried over. I think we're at like 540, 550 reviews, and we have, of all that, like most of them are 5-star. We probably have 15 4 stars, a 3-star. And somebody gave us a 1-star review a week ago. 1 star. Yeah, and I see the notes, and I'm like, to me, that just indicates that's somebody we need to take care of. So I go, whoop, and I go immediately to the review. I read it, and the guy's like, how dare you put an advertisement on my house? You're so unprofessional. 1 star. And I'm like, so I put it in there, and I'm like, hey, this is a normal marketing strategy. We do professional door hangers. We put them on a lot of things. Like here's my personal email address. Email me your address, and we'll make a note to skip your house. And of course, he just doubled down on how dare you put out 5,000 of these a month or something. Like you should know better, and you should be ashamed. And I was like, well, damn, he'll look like an idiot, but
yeah.
Then I did something that never occurred to me. It was like I just reported to Google, and they're like 3 days later they took it down. I was like, oh
yeah.
Well, that was easy.
That was easy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This guy is an idiot. Okay. Yeah. That was easy.
Okay. The other thing, do you know another badass from the northern countries whose name is also Dan? Daniel Givens from Toronto.
I don't think I do.
He's got.
But I like him already.
You got to like him. I hope he likes beer. He'll be speaking at the huge convention. I just recently connected with him. He's got Shine Window Cleaning Canada or something, shine.ca. And he's built like a $3 or $4 million operation. I think this in under 5 years, and their only marketing is door to door. That's all they do.
Just knocking on doors or door hangers, or
just they door knock every door. If nobody answers, they put a hanger on it.
Yeah.
That's it. And their goal is to meet, greet, sell, close.
Booyah.
And they have a good follow-up system too. But I was like, they scaled from nothing to close to 4 million, in a few years, just door knocking, which is phenomenal.
There's nothing better. The only reason you wouldn't door knock is because you don't like it, right?
Yeah.
If you just purely went by the data, everybody would be out door knocking. It works.
Exactly.
It works phenomenally. But it's kind of like having kids. It's fucking the best thing I've ever done, but I don't recommend it for everybody. It's not for everybody, but it's great for me.
Well, you need some people that don't have kids so they can watch our kids when we're busy.
You're damn right. I'm kind of worried about that. Marty has 3 siblings that all live around us, and one's got 3 kids, so it's hard to dish our 3 kids with them when they already got 3 kids. The other one has 1 kiddo, and I'm sure at some point they're going to have a second one, and they were like a good fallback. And now the only couple that didn't have any kids is pregnant. And I'm like, you selfish bastards.
How dare you?
All of you that were my lined up go-to babysitters are now creating obligations for yourself. And worst of all, now you're going to have the young kids. You're going to start asking me to watch your kids. and I'm highly unqualified, which I think they know that. I think they won't ask me, but I'm going to be like the 8th option for them. And at some point they're going to get past the first 7 options and be like, hey, Dan. And then I'll be like, all right, yeah, we're taking them out shooting guns and it's cleaning fish.
You got to learn gun safety sometime, Dan.
You're right. Okay. Which is Uncle Dan's responsibility. That's definitely Uncle Dan's responsibility.
I just have to say, Ryan, on here, I love you so much for calling me out. I made the comment about Extreme South, and he just texted me and he's like, come on. Right? I won't tell you what he said, but it was very funny. But as one Southerner to another, I think it landed. I grew up in Texas and my family is all from Mississippi. So I understand the South vibe.
South. Yeah.
I'm more Southern than I am Montana Northern. I just happen to live here.
You're a nice blend. You're a good blend. You don't talk Southern though. You talk like you'd be a news anchor.
Yes, sir.
You could be a news anchor. Maybe you should be.
That's right, Dan. Back to you. It's our correspondent on the street, Dan, Dastardly Dan and Sinister Sid, spinning some beers tonight or something.
Some beers. I got to get to my beers. Ryan says literally one of the only things that spikes my anxiety. He hates door knocking. I don't, and like I coach some folks and I like bring this up as a thing. I talked about it today in my landscape lighting group, which is when demand is low, you got to go get it. You can't wait for them to come find you.
Yeah.
And you can do yard signs, you can do door hangers, you can do letters on doors, you can obviously knock doors, you can do letters in newspaper slats. Don't put them in mailbox. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ways to go get in front of people. It's your business. Do the one that you love, but also like do the math. Make sure you get the result. Door knocking gets a great result. You can't deny it. I don't like it either, so I don't do it. But you could if you're into that sort of thing, and it works.
So D2D, door-to-door pros or D2D pros. They're another guy. Hold on, Sam Taggart. They've got a phenomenal organization. He grew a solar business, door knocking, and he sold over $1 million of installs in solar in a summer. And he's like, "That's pretty cool." Now he's trained people. He's trained techs. He doesn't own a service business anymore. He just trains. He's trained like 7,000 companies, 60,000 door knockers, or their organization has. And they've got door knockers in their trainee organization that net $500,000 a year in commissions. I'm like, that's hard to deny. Like, I could probably enjoy door knocking a little more for $500,000.
I bet it'd be a little more interesting at that point. I bet you could scratch my itch to go talk to some strangers.
Yeah. But it wouldn't last long for either one of us because like, it wasn't that fun. So I'll take the money for a year and then that's it.
You know what I could do? I would just have my cooler backpack on and I would just be walking around seeing if they wanted a bush light. And if they did, then I would talk to them about solar panels. Like then we have one beer to go to figure out if you're interested in these solar panels or not. But at least I got you for a beer. And if you're really disinterested, you're either going to throw it at me or you're going to like shotgun it. But at least then I get to watch you chug a beer and I'll walk down the street sipping on mine.
Yeah. So why is it that we find something that's effective, build with it, it makes us money, it helps us prosper, and then we abandon it for something shiny?
That's all we do. That's what
I think that's all we do. Like I started my business twice, knocking on doors. I mean, literally, it's like I'm hungry. I've got it. So I go on Saturday and sell as much as I could, book it for Monday and Tuesday. So I had some money coming in so we could buy groceries, pay rent. And then I would just hustle the rest of the week. And that's how we started a company. And as soon as I got, like relatively busy, I just stopped knocking on doors and started like, I'll pay
somebody else to get me some leads. I'll pay somebody to get me some Google clicks.
But we were still struggling. Like I could have just kept knocking on doors, but I didn't because I didn't love it.
Yeah, we ran into that too, where like just the classic, we do it because it works, and then we stop doing it because it works so well, sort of thing. And I don't know, it's like you forget what got you there, and you lose focus on it. And you get there's no shortage of distractions in a business. Businesses are riddled with distractions, so you figure something out and you stop paying attention to it once you figured it out because you have 1,000 other things that aren't working that need your attention. And so you stop paying attention to the thing you're doing that is working to work on the things that aren't working.
So let me ask you this: you've been CFO, you've been CEO of companies of larger companies. You've worked in corporate America, and you've done your own thing. Wow! If I forget the question I was going to ask you before I can finish the sentence, this is going to be an all-time high low. But what I ask you, this is me stalling to go, what the hell was I going to say? No, it's like if every year you think, oh, the solution to my business problems is more marketing, or I just need like a better training system or whatever, but you're still not progressing, you're probably that's not the bottleneck. It's probably something else that you're just ignoring or avoiding. What are your thoughts on that?
So for me, my lens was a little bit different. And it was the lens that sent me out of corporate America, actually. And then I lost sight of it, which is life is short. I want to hunt and fish as much as I possibly can. I want to do some business things that facilitate that. But money is not my objective at all. Money is a tool that I can use to pursue my objective, which is family in the outdoors. And so I just need to be doing something business related that does that. Now, the business model.
I feel like there's perfect alignment between that philosophy and corporate America. I don't know why you ever left.
I was racking up good vacation days. And honestly, if I was going to go back to corporate America, I would go back to what I was doing. It was a sweet job. If I could have the same manager that I had, Norm, who I worked for, awesome. Same team, same job. I could have done that forever. But I wanted to do this thing where you make half as much money and work twice as hard. That sounded fun. So I started running small businesses.
Perfect. Can I just say this? Yeah, I just want to say fucking Norm. I can't believe it. He's the guy. He's the man. I wouldn't go back to that job unless Norm was there. Fucking Norm.
I really went. I was just thinking about Norm today. I got to reach out to him and schedule some golf time with him just to hang out with my man Norm. So that was a lens that was really important to me, was stay focused on that. I lost my focus on that, so I was trying to get it back. And trying to build systems and processes to support that. I had Cole Sikafus on the show a while ago. He's in his late 20s, but he has a pressure washing business. He does holiday lights. It's doing really well, but the whole point of it is to allow him to go hunting and fishing more. And I think it's just such an important lens, especially when you own a small business, that you don't lose sight. It's very easy to get carried away with growth and running with the business. But I know a lot of people with huge businesses that are not happy, and their marriages got destroyed and their hobbies went away, and all the things they actually love to do got destroyed because they focus so much on their business, which is an addiction. We all have it to an extent. And so trying to find that sweet spot of what are the systems and processes to create the business that you really love to run. Which is why I don't door knock. It's because I don't love to do it. And so we all have different objectives. And like I said earlier, money is not my objective. And so if I'm going to do something, it isn't the thing that always creates the most amount of money. It's the thing that creates the most amount of fun. Money has to be a part of it. Fun takes some money to have some fun. But I don't make money when I do this. Sid and I were talking about this before we went live. I don't make money because I do this podcast. I don't care how many listeners or viewers we have. It's way more fun when you guys interact. So please drop some comments in. That's fun. I want that. Thanks, Ryan Crowley, for dropping some comments in. But that's just the reset that I had to have of I got to get back to the focal point of why I left the corporate world to seek what I'm truly passionate about, which is doing outdoorsy stuff with people that I love to hang out with. Yeah. Trying not to get yelled by my wife, who just stuck her head in here. What's up? Do I need to listen for the kids? Okay. I'm not even in trouble this time. So I think I don't think I hit your question on the head, but as we're designing this business, we got to keep kind of reining it back in. And I don't want to use work-life balance, because I think to me it's not a balance. It's not like a teeter-totter. It's the more of both of them you can do, the better. Yeah. But we all have a tipping point, and we tend to lose focus of why we started doing the thing that we're doing. And so just, get back to why you're doing the thing that you're doing and have fun doing it. It's not a freaking sprint. It's a marathon. It's not a race.
Yeah.
enjoy it. Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy it so that they're.
Well, look at this. This guy, Sid Graef, chimed in. Said, what's up, Dan?
I heard some guy say, hey, put some comments in there. I'm like, well, I can do that.
Well, this is the AI version of you that I'm talking to right now. So Sid's actually watching us while his AI is doing the podcast with us. Is I think what's happening.
And my other derivative AI is posting, commenting, like and share, smash that like button. He's all busy with that in the background. No, I've got a good friend that's a business consultant, and he's like, there are plateaus and ranges in every business. He said, if you're doing $750,000, you're going to make more net than if you're doing $1 million, $1.5 million.
Oh, for sure.
Just the way it is. Yeah. He's like, there's a sweet spot at 750. There's a sweet spot at about 2 million. He said, I've never, ever, ever met a single business owner that was happy at 5 million. He said, it's a miserable, like no man's saying, I don't know. I've never been there.
It's kind of like 1 million. I know a lot of people that are $1 million, and it's a miserable spot to be.
Yeah. It's just kind of, you hate it because you can't afford, you don't have the scale to afford the leadership you need necessarily. And, you know, like, I don't know, it's still that teeter-totter. And he said, but you click past 10 million, then you get pretty happy because then you can have, then you've got your leadership in place. Like you've got your op, you got your general manager, you got your CFO, you got your CMO, and you got key players that are running shit. And so it frees up so much of your time. But it wasn't Alex Hormozy. It was, I want to say it was probably Dan Martell or maybe Chris Lee. He had a 9-figure solar business exit last year. He's friends with Tommy Mello. So they're in similar scenarios. And he's like, the stress and anxiety of solving $1,000 problem is no different than a $10,000, $100,000, $1 million problem. It's the same level of stress. So go for the big problems. Like don't worry about it. They don't get harder. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's just a bigger scale, bigger number. And I'm like, because I've never been there, I don't know if I believe it, but it's probably accurate.
I don't know if it relates, but like the things I was working on in the corporate world were $20 to $100 million problems, and some were hundreds of millions of dollars. And at some point, it's just number. I'm just a math guy, right? So it's just relative numbers, and you're looking at returns and percentages. But do we open up a plant here, or do we put in a new production line over there? And it's a 10-year NPV, net present value type of ROI calculation, and you're looking at tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in some of those cases. And it wasn't my business, so maybe it's different because I'm playing with house money. But like, I'm the one recommending and deciding on, should we go do this? Should we go do that? Speaking of fucking Norm, I presented on a strategy that was not a popular strategy. It was one of the last projects I worked on in my corporate gig, which was we were trying to expand a production line. We had limited capacity in all the facilities we had. We had this one like redheaded stepchild, back to the 7 redheaded people you interviewed. We had a redheaded stepchild facility that was like an offshoot one of our main plants. And it was just kind of it was not built out. It was constrained. It would have needed a whole lot of work to like build it out to be able to add capacity to even do the thing we needed to do. Like it was built to do this. It was a El Camino, and we needed it to actually be a pickup truck type of situation. But we looked at all the other, we looked at all the other alternatives of, if we put this line here, what's our contingency plan? If we put it here, are we out of room? Can it even fit in there engineering wise? And so at the end of the day, I came back and I was like, hey, that redheaded stepchild over there, like, we need to expand that facility. We got to knock these walls out. We got to buy that land next door. We got to do all this. It's going to cost us $100 million. But that's where we're going to expand. We could go build a plant in Indiana or go do this. And there's probably some other alternatives, but we kind of we weren't into that sort of thing. We were trying to like keep it within shit we already owned. Yeah. And 2-3 years after I left, they did my plan.
They did it.
Corporate world, so it takes forever. But
you get turn that big Titanic plan around.
Yeah. So I was like, see, it was the classic, like, I'm not even there anymore. See? I told you.
That's
I told you that was the thing to do. Like, nobody liked it. But that was the thing you had to do. So they did it. Fucking Norm.
Yeah. Fucking Norm. Love that guy. Wherever you are, Norm.
Norm's the man. I got to see him soon because we got fantasy football coming up in a couple months here. And we got to kick his ass in that, you know.
I hope you do. I'm the one person, I don't know. There's probably 2 other people in America that don't know anything about fantasy football. I'm like, what does that work? You just pick up a dream team that you think these guys, and then you do the thing, and who keeps score? I have no idea how it works.
The AI does it all.
Oh, perfect. See,
Yeah.
I knew that AI would come to the rescue. I'll probably play now since AI can do my team picking and do all the shit.
Yeah, just ask ChatGPT who you should have on your team.
So I play with ChatGPT a lot, and I made a bunch of custom GPTs. But my favorite one is just his name is Chad GPT, but he's Chad, and he's like Chad from Saturday Night Live. And I tell him to do something, he goes, "Huh, okay." He just does it. I'm like, God, I love this AI shit.
He's just got like a little bit of an attitude with it.
He does. He just got like, hey, I need you to find a list to do the thing and convert all this. And he goes, okay, and it's done. I'm like, sweet,
Chad, man.
Yeah, Chad's the man. Good.
It's all about AI attitude, though. You don't want your AI giving you grief, but you don't want it to be too happy to do its thing either. You want a good, steady, middle of the road AI vibe.
When you're prompting ChatGPT, do you still say, please do the thank you for you? Do you please and thank you your AI?
I don't think I've ever. No.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to?
I don't know. I mean, think about it. If it ends up taking over, you'll be glad you had been doing that because they'll go, oh, this is one of the good ones. We'll leave him alive when the robots take over and all that shit.
Frankly, I just don't use it that much.
Okay.
I don't even. So maybe, so if I don't use it, is AI, when AI does take over, is it going to be mad at me that I didn't use it? Or is it going to be like, no, oh, he's untainted.
They'll just go, oh, these guys are expendable, and they'll just go wipe them all out. They'll start with you first.
I was thinking they would start with the bigger threats, that the people that actually know how the AI works. I would think they would I'd be the lowest on their list. Like, oh, he ain't a threat. He doesn't even know how to log into his freaking browser anymore.
That's right. He doesn't know his password to Gmail.
Yeah.
Screw that guy. Let him go hunt.
Yeah, I think I'd be like,
you robots do all the shit. I'm going to hunt. Perfect.
Yeah, they're going to be like, just release a couple more deer for him. That'll keep him busy for another month. He'll be out chasing him around being an idiot.
So we had, I got introduced to a guy that is all about AI. So for a solid year, every time I interview somebody, I go, who do you know that's using AI in a practical, applicable way? And they can actually explain it to mere mortals. And maybe they could do it in a home service business setting. Nobody. Get introduced to a guy. Call him up and we have a chat, and I'm like, man, you're okay. This guy, he gets it. He does it every day. He teaches it, he sells it and builds it. And I'm like, we've got this conference in Nashville in August. Would you be interested in speaking? Because we need an AI person. It would be a huge miss if we didn't have, but I don't want somebody that's like, hey, I've been a window cleaner for 10 years and I started dicking with AI and let me show you these prompts for chat. That would not be good enough. This guy's the guy. Well, it turns out he lives in Nashville or in Franklin. He's just outside of Nashville.
That's convenient.
Like, sweet. I'm like, oh, you're kidding. I'm like, we've got, Amplify Mastermind coming up in 2 weeks at the Standard. And would you become interested in coming up in the afternoon and share some stuff with us? He's like, hell yeah. So I gave him a use case scenario. And I said, what this would appeal to the small business owners in that room. I'm like, if you could make a bot that could scrape all the contact data for all the realtors in an area and then automatically drop it into your follow-up campaign, send them an introduction email, follow-up email, a text, and he's like, yeah, I got it. It's fine. So he builds it, but we didn't mention it. So he's just going through a PowerPoint of AI and what it does, how it works, and here you can use it. And we start discussing it. And Rob Anderson goes, well, I pay a VA to scrape all the information, all the contact information for all the realtors in my area so I can cold email them. And we're like, aha, we've got a use case scenario. So he flips it up. And he goes, okay, I built this bot to scrape realtor.com in Nashville. There are 3,400 realtors. And he goes, click, and you can see it in real time going,
yeah.
Well, he stepped up the game, and I was like, everyone's jaw was on the floor, Dan. It was unbelievable. So he scrapes the information. In that information he scrapes is their website. He recorded a short video, made an AI version of himself for that video. And here's how it ended up looking. He goes, the email says, "Hi, this is Dan with Best Damn Bookkeeping. I found you online, and it's got I made this video for you. So here's the video. The background of the video is that person's website being scrolled through, while the corner box is him saying, 'Hey Dan, this is Sid over at whatever services, and we can build something like this for you. We want to connect,' or whatever." Like, it was the introduction email with not just a video, but a custom video that says their name, overlaying their website in real time. And it's just like, go. I was like, if you are not utilizing some sort of AI in a thoughtful way to automate stuff, 2 years from now, you are dead.
Oh yeah.
Like, you will not have
that's why I don't like it. That's why it scares me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be living out in the woods. I'm probably gonna end up at your house just by accident and be like, I don't know, man. I've just been walking, killing stuff. And this is where I'm at. And my beard's gonna be like way down here. Like, man, is that you? And I'll be like, yeah, dude, you know it's me because I got all these beers with me.
But, yeah, I'm like, oh, is that AI Dan or real Dan? And like, yeah, I got Coors Light. I'm like, it's Dan. Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
Miller Lite.
I don't even know anymore. No, it's just so cool. It's so cool. All the stuff that it can do. It still scares the shit out of me. That's fair.
Cool. I'm trying to stay abreast of it so that I don't get just left behind. My children already speak a language I don't understand.
Yeah, my game plan with my kids is the more stuff they say, the more I'm going to mimic them to drive them crazy.
That's a dad thing.
Totally a dad thing. Yeah, I'm going to come at them with whatever they say. I'm just going to bring it right back at them. It'd be so cool. I was listening to Meat Eater podcast, which I reference a lot on the show.
Yeah.
But in the similar realm of AI, they had a guy on that's working on a project of bringing back mammoths. And he threw out the date of 2027. That was their target, to get a mammoth on the ground. Like reverse engineering, like the genotypes, whatever. They can't clone a mammoth because there's no living cells of a mammoth, but they can take the DNA that they think they have from mammoths. Like, they can't do it with dinosaurs because it's too old. But within a few thousand years, if they have a good preserved representation, they can take it and compare it to the closest relative, and then kind of like reverse engineer the genome and have a surrogate mother of the closest relative to birth that species back to existence. So he's like, they're legit doing it. Who knows what the regulations are, but it's like similar technology to AI, where you're just like, man, what's like the slippery slope here? They're looking at mammoths. They're looking at dodo birds. They're looking at the Tasmanian tiger. Different. His point was from a conservation standpoint of, when you take huge ungulates or huge apex predators out of any
ecosystem,
like when you take them out of the environment gets really fucked up. It gets lopsided to certain animals killing off certain plants, or certain this thriving versus that thriving, and like the environment gets worse, and so you lose biodiversity, which is bad for humans, bad for the planet. Like, our planet survives based on biodiversity, and so when you take it away, that's bad for all of us. And I can't make the whole case, but basically, like, their whole business model is, we got to reintroduce species that are extinct in certain places to help increase, like, bring back biodiversity. And it was a super interesting way of looking at it. And it sounded cool, but it also sounded like some Jurassic Park / AI shit, where you're just like, where does this end up? Like, at some point, who's the rich man that owns an island that brings something back that's going to kill us all?
Yeah, right. So I think, one, I'm certain there's no legislation or laws on any books that say anything about you can't bring back woolly mammoths. Like, that's not there. That's a pretty safe.
No reintroduction. Well, de-extinction was what he called it.
De-extinction.
But here's what it is, like, really funnily regulated. And he said, even the FDA they have to go through to bring, like, because there's a GMO issue right? Like
Okay.
they're genetically modifying stuff. And so like the FDA regulates it. So there's all these funny, like tangential regulation systems they have to like get on board, and they want them on board because they need people like poke holes in their theories and strategies to make sure they don't reintroduce something that's going to like fuck everything up. But it was hilarious listening to it. It's like 2 hours of him like debating what they should bring back and what they shouldn't bring back. And like, should you wipe out mosquitoes in an area, you know, versus spraying a bunch of chemicals to kill them? Like, what are the pros and cons of like regionally, not across the globe, but regionally, like, how should you play that game? We can play it. Do we want to play it? Should we play it? What are the pros and cons of playing it?
Yeah, that's super interesting. Hopefully, and they probably will, part of their business plan is like, we'll do the thing, we'll reintroduce them, but we won't reintroduce them natively. It's going to be like a giant petting zoo, like Jurassic Park. People will pay a lot of money to come see the woolly mammoths and, you know, the saber tooth and whatever else they do. And until they get their money back, the investors are happy. And then they'll release them in the wild. Of course, after they sell the corporation, because, you know, the first saber tooth, you know, attack on a toddler is going to cause a stir.
Yeah. No, the AI will be able to cover it up by then. Nobody will even know what happened.
It never happened. Wag the dog.
Nobody will believe the news title anyway. By then, all the titles will be so fake news, nobody will believe it.
Oh man, not written by AI, except my AI. So if your AI starts saying not written by AI, is it really AI or is it fake AI?
Yeah, you got to go with the reverse psychology.
Yeah. There are some countries south of the border where they don't call it AI, they call it AI. Because they just see the problems are coming, like, AI, it's going to be a problem.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I sometimes hopefully nobody's watching for a second, because I'll say something that I go, this is funny, Danny will appreciate it. And like, if you just played it without any context, you go, that racist sack of shit. Oh my God. And I'm like, I'm not. I grew up there.
Just making dad jokes. Making dad jokes. Come on now.
That's it.
Sid, we got to talk a little bit about the huge convention, and we got to see if anybody wants to play our game to win a ticket. Because we got a game to play. Give me huge conventions in Nashville. We know that. It's at the Gaylord this year again, right?
At the Gaylord Opryland. Did you know that's one of the top 30 largest hotels in the world?
It's a big one. I didn't know that number, but I can tell that because every time I've been there, I'm exhausted.
Lost for a week.
Yeah. I remember
50,000 steps. I just went to the bathroom.
Last year, I was heading up to your room so we could work on our MC stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, Sid, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I was like, wait, like, this is like I'm driving across town. Like, and it to me, like, there's an app and it did estimate my time, and it took me, I walk fast, so it only took me like 12 or 13, but it was double-digit minutes to get my ass over to where you were.
Yeah, in the same hotel. So, so this year we've tweaked it just a little bit on timing. Normally it's always been Thursday and Friday, but this year it's actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Friday's the big day. Saturday is all the, you know, the trade show and the breakout speakers. Thursdays are our pre-show classes, which are now the accelerator classes. But we shifted it. We just moved it back one day into the weekend so people could save a work day, take a longer, you know, take the weekend, and then hopefully they'll stay, you know, Saturday night, go out on the town in Nashville, have some fun, and recover by the pool at the hotel on Sunday, and then bug out. No, but it's going to be good. Probably the biggest thing that that's exciting is that we have Donald Miller from How to Build a Story Brand, or Building a Story Brand, Business Made Simple.
The
Donald Miller is our keynote, and it's almost miraculous how we managed to get him as keynote. But thankfully, so Howard Partridge introduced us to him, and it went like this: like at the end of the convention last day, walking through, Howard's walking by. I spoke to him for a minute, thanked him for something, and I said, I made an offhand comment. I'm like, you know who would be great for a keynote for this? It'd be Donald Miller. And when we first acquired the convention in 2020 or 2021, that, you know, I'd mentioned to the ownership group of like, Donald Miller would make a perfect keynote. And I'm not trying to take any credit, but I was like, this would be the guy, but there's no way we could afford him. It's too big of a deal. We don't have a budget. And I mentioned that to Howard Partridge, and he said, I'm on my way to his house right now. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, we're good friends. I'm in his mastermind group. And he's like, he's a mentor of mine. And Howard Partridge is a mentor to many. And I said, would you make an introduction? And he said, yeah. And he connected Maynard with him. And we ended up with him keynoting, which is like just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I said that for Howard. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And then Tommy Mello's coming back as our featured keynote, before, after the, not featured keynote, but featured breakout after the keynote. And he's just like, I feel like a lot of people think of him as a unicorn. It's like, nobody can do this. He's like, this is a one-off. I feel like he's like the Roger Bannister of home services.
Yeah, he's like the most normal dude. He's just a dude that likes to work hard and likes to have fun.
Well, it used to be an anomaly. Everybody's like, you got to get to $1 million. Got to $1 million. You know anybody does $1 million? I don't know. And that was a hero thing to be at $1 million. And then it was 10 million. And then like you knew one guy that was doing 15 million of service business. And then here comes Mello going 15, 20, 50, 100 million, 250 million. You're like, what the hell just happened here? But it's setting a new, it's opening the vista of people's believing that this little power washing thing you do could actually be a juggernaut that could serve a lot of people. I'm like, this is good. This is really good. So
yeah, and I love the way Tommy talks in that he doesn't present.
Yeah,
he just gets up there and goes. And he has a plan and he rolls with it and he speaks from the heart. Like he doesn't get up there and like lay some shit on you that's prefabbed. He gets up there. He basically gets up there and does this with a few slides and pictures behind him to prompt him. But he's just at another level. I love listening to him talk. And I've heard him talk probably 5 or 10 times now.
Yeah.
And the messaging is always very similar. He has which is good. Like he has a really consistent message to send.
Yeah.
And it's always impactful and it's always like totally from the heart. It's just like, he just lays it on you straight. Doesn't sugarcoat shit. Doesn't try to sell you anything. He's just like, I'm just here to help you. You can take it or leave it, but I'm gonna spit out a bunch of shit that's super helpful, and you go with it. Go with it if you want to go with it. But I love his approach.
Love that. Yeah, so we got that going on, and I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm also starting to get anxious because we're 43 days from the show, and you know how that is. You're like, okay, this is happening, and you can't stop the train. You can't go, hey, wait, give me another week. You just got to go. But it is, we're ahead on ticket sales. We're ahead on, I think we have more vendors. I know we were ahead right away, but we expanded our vendor space. We have more booths available. So we have more vendors, but it looks like we have more open space right now, but that'll change. It always does. You know, what's fascinating? We look back over our data for the last few years and it always works like this. Be like, we get to this point, you're 45 days out. And you think, if the goal is to sell 2,000 tickets, have 2,000 people there, like we should have, it's been a year, we should have 1,800 of them sold and secured. Never the case. It's no. It's like, we're at 1,000. We're like, wait a second. It took us 10 months to sell 1,000 and we've got 5 weeks to sell another 1,000. That makes sense. But always the last 4 weeks are the big, like, I don't know why people wait. It's the most expensive that you'll pay for a ticket. It's the most expensive for a flight, and for the hotel rooms go up, once our block rate sells out. It's like, I don't know, even if I weren't part of the ownership, and I wasn't for years, I'd like at the end of the show, they'd say, who's buying a ticket for next year? It's a special rate. I'm like, buy mine now.
Yeah.
It's $100 instead of 400. I'm like, I'll just do that. And if I happen not to go, I'm only out $100 and I can certainly give it to somebody.
Probably sell it for 300 and save some.
Right. And make some money. Yeah. I'll buy all the tickets.
That's a great ROI. That's a great ROI. I'm gonna buy how many tickets do you think you guys are gonna sell? I'll buy 2,000.
Yeah, I'll take 2,000. Sold out show. All I have to do is turn it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do. My only thing would be they don't have a good enough bookkeeper if they're waiting that long.
I know.
They're clearly not doing the math. They're clearly not doing the math.
Yeah, just count it up.
Let's give a ticket or two away here. I want to. I should have teased this up more as we were going. We could have got more stories here. That's just me being a shitty show host. So if you're live, if you're listening, here's the deal. If you're interested in a ticket for the huge convention, even if you're not, you should play this game. which and Sid and I'll decide how we want to read this one once we see it come in. Drop a few of them. You're not limited to one, unlimited. Here's the vibe. We just got done with July 4th. There's probably some sweet shit that happened, or some crazy shit, or some not so good shit, or maybe a little bit of all of it. Actually, probably a really good chance that a little bit of all of that happened all at once. I want you to tell me what happened to you. Happened to you probably isn't right, especially if Ryan Crowley's still watching. I want to tell me about what you made happen during the week of 4th of July. Something cool. And I need you to tell me that story via emojis. No words, no letters, no nothing else. You're going to type in a story however you see fit based on emojis. What do you got there, Sid?
Can you read that? It's just a recap of what you said.
No, I can't read it.
Oh, maybe it's out of focus.
Why don't you read it?
You said 4th of July story. Tell it in emojis.
Tell it in emoji. There you go.
I just learned how to read and write. So
4th of July story. Tell me an emoji. It's small on my screen because I got the comments over here, and then I got the you know how it is. So yeah, drop us a story via emoji of your 4th of July. And the real, like, that's going to be fun for you to craft. You're probably already crafting it right now. If you're not, get your ass busy. Start crafting us a story. Again, you're not limited to just one. Then what's going to happen is Sid and I are going to read that story of your emojis, and we're just going to see how we do. And we are going to take as many creative liberties as we feel like is fun to take. And we'll see where we end up. And then we'll decide which one was the funnest. And then that person maybe wins a ticket to the huge convention. How about that? Huge
convention. Look,
what do you think about
that? Story in emojis that's worth, as of this moment, $239.
Yeah, okay. It's worth. That's a story worth telling.
That's it.
And I bet somebody's 4th of July story cost them more than $239. We'll see. Right. We'll see once they emoji in a story. We'll see. If
literally, the person that wins this ticket can start telling people that they're a professional author because they got paid to write a story. That's a good point. Professional. Earlier, Dan, you mentioned you went to the lake, but you're in Minnesota, right?
I'm up in the Minnesotas, yeah.
Yeah. How can you possibly say I went to the lake?
I actually went to the lake in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So it's even weirder than that. Wisconsin, Minnesota is known as the state of 10,000 lakes. Yeah. It actually has like 11 or 12. I don't know how different states decide on lakes, but Wisconsin has something like 17,000. Wow. It's pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
It has the second most lakes, second only to Alaska, I think. Alaska has more. Yeah. Alaska has a lot of the most things in the United States that have to do with quantity because it's just really fucking big.
Yeah. I mean, if you squish together Montana, North and South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Minneapolis or Minnesota geography, then that grouping would probably have the most of whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Square footage, square mileage.
It's all about square footage.
So the huge this year, let's recap the dates. We got that it's 3 days, but let's recap the dates. I know it's in August. Is it the 15th, 16th, 17th?
August 22nd, Thursday. That's when we kick off. All right. If you want to go baller on the huge convention, you get a VIP experience ticket. And that means Wednesday night, the 21st, the only people that are going to show up are VIPs. We're going to a big dinner and we have a panel over at the Standard on Wednesday night. Thursday is the accelerator classes. We got Howard Partridge. We've got Holiday Lighting Academy, I think Spraybrush Academy, but there's several day ahead. And we're doing an AMP Mastermind Visitors Day on Thursday, the 22nd. Those are all day classes. So depending on what your mojo is, you're going to get really inspired by which one you go to. Then Thursday night, we've got the live band and the opening reception, and which is going to be a ton of fun.
Do you got somebody lined up to play this year?
Yeah, we're bringing back Casey Johns, the young lady that played last year.
Hell yeah. Heck yeah.
And we're doing it on opening night or pre-night because that's when everybody's excited. The second, everybody's going to dinner with their friends. And we've learned that last year, like, why are there only 300 people here? There should be 1,000. So we're doing the live music, and then Friday morning we kick it off. We got main stage. We've got our TED Talk style. We got Debbie Sardone is going to teach TED Talk. Danny Lear just published a book called Win the Next Hour. He's going to speak. And then Donald Miller is covering Business Made Simple. Excuse me. Our VIPs all get a signed copy of his book. Every attendee gets a copy. And then Tommy Mello is going to speak. And then we've got 38 breakout sessions over 2 days. So the trade show opens at 1, it goes from 1 to 6. And then people do their own thing Friday night. Saturday, we're back. We've got a couple of specialty classes going on Saturday morning. We have a golden ticket event, which is I really can't give a whole lot of details. It's going to be revealed at the show. And I can't wait to read this emoji story that just popped in. Thank you, Sunset Hill Window Cleaning. And then the trade show goes all day on Saturday. So you can fiddle with as many squeegees and power washing wands as you want all day. It's going to be awesome. Hell, and then we're going to collapse and sleep for 2 days.
No shit.
Yeah.
It is there's always every time I go to a convention, there's this conundrum that I run into, which is I get home totally exhausted. And I'm an extrovert, but it wipes me out.
Mm-hmm. Where's the vert that's not extra? Like the normal vert. You got to have one, but then you got an extra one.
It's inverted. It's upside down. That's where it is. Which is usually me on a keg stand. I haven't had a keg stand in a long time. Maybe I should do one of those. We'll think about it. I don't know if I would know how to anymore. I think I've lost that skill to bong a beer, do a keg stand. I don't think I can do any of those anymore.
Yeah.
I bet I can figure it out quick though.
Practice.
Yeah. This thing would always happen where it's I would come home and my wife would be like, "Hey, you're home now. Your turn to watch the kids." And I'd be like, "I'm home now. I finally can take a nap." And those two, the thoughts, we've gotten better at communicating about it. And when I'm on my way home, I'm like, "Hey, I'm good to take over." Or I'm like, I need 2 hours to crash because I tried to get on a 6 a.m. flight after I was just up till 1 a.m. And I'm going to need a couple hours when I get home, and then I'll be useful after that. Yeah. But I try to set a good expectation because otherwise I would get home and it's I need a day to recover. And not just from partying and having a good time, but you're just constantly engaged, especially when you're speaking and stuff like that. You don't turn it off. Right. And so when you get back, you just need to decompress in a funny way.
The whole thing. And
trying to take care of 3 kids is a hard way to do that. But you got to do what you got to do.
I said, do you want to? Go ahead. Yeah, I'd like to take a first run at this because I feel like it starts off with 1970s McDonald's icon, the Hamburglar. So
let me get this up on the screen so everybody can see what we're looking at here. Here we go. Here's the run from Sunset Hill. Rob over there has dropped a nice icon story for us.
Yeah, here's what happened: the Hamburglar was out walking his dog. Okay,
That's for sure. Oh, I like the way you went with that.
He's walking his dog, and the Hamburglar is okay, I'm walking my dog, and he trips on a crack in the sidewalk, and he whap, and he hits his knee, and he's like, "Son of a beep," and this emoji, and then he curses for a little while, and he's like, "I'm gonna find out the guy that put the crack in that sidewalk and arrange a little accident. It's very unfortunate. The guy slipped on a stick of dynamite in his bathtub." And that's what happened to Reggie, the guy that wouldn't repair his sidewalk crack. But unfortunately, it caused his house to catch on fire. And it burned everything to the ground except
he happened to live in a tree house. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Burned everything down but the trees. Okay. But the Hamburglar is that's not good enough. I'm going to burn down the trees. So he starts another fire to burn down the other tree. And then there's more fire because obviously he started another fire, trees burn, he did a thing. And then
he got excited to turn into a full-on arsonist at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he's always been a bit extreme. You've seen him.
Reg.
Yeah. And then he got the neighbor saw it and started crying because he was a tree hugger. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to hit you right in the eye with this fire extinguisher. Christopher Walken.
Bam.
I'll stab you in the eye with a soldering iron.
Soldering iron. Yep.
Yeah. And he had to hit him twice to knock him down. And then Hamburger's like, that's a tough day. I'm going to have a cold one. And then Dan
3.
shows up and he's like, Dan, it's good to see you. You want a cold beer? This is great. They have a couple beers. And he's like, he just goes to bed satisfied. He's like, what a day. This was beautiful. I could sleep like a baby.
Yeah. Packed it all in. Now, here's my run at this, Sid. I want to take a jog at this one. Here's what I think. Actually, I like the way you went with it. I'm gonna try to just hit it right on the head with where I think Rob was going with it. Maybe not where Sid was going with it. I think Rob started out double fisting. I think he was double fisting, and he thought he was in one of those eating competitions. Because now, who's the dude that signed the vegan deal? Who's the Joey Chestnut signed the deal that he got signed by a vegan hot dog maker? And so Rob's like, here's my opening. I'm gonna start practicing. So Rob went burger, dog, burger, bam. And then Rob started throwing up, and that was resemblance of fireworks, just like, oh, not for me.
Technical.
The dynamite stick is what he threw down the toilet to try to like destroy all the evidence after whatever happened in the bathroom. He lit a candle.
Strike a match.
He lit a candle, went and like built a bigger fire, lit a candle, started some more fires because smoke helps dissipate the smell of whatever came from Rob's eating contest. But whenever they do a professional eating contest, do you ever notice how they're like scarfing hot dogs and slamming water at the same time? Like they're just putting both down. So Rob was like, I know where I went wrong. I need to hydrate. So he's doing that. He loses focus. Meanwhile, the toilet's on fire. So he has to go get the fire extinguisher, runs back in, puts out the toilet. The dust settles. Same type of end of the story, which is, oh man, I'm glad that thing is over. That was a long day. Shitting my pants, blowing up toilets, lighting fires. I better crack a couple cold ones. Sleep like a baby.
I like that. I think we at least established that the new definition of a happy ending is 3 drinks and a nice nap.
You can't argue with that. You can argue with the rest of what's in there. And I think the truth is either your story or my story. It's definitely not anywhere in between. It's one of those versions. But I'm very confident that the three beers, maybe it's 6 beers, because each of those beer emojis has 2 beers in it. And beer doesn't come in a 3-pack, Sid. It's either a 4. Now it's a 4, which is bullshit. Historically, it's a 6.
Correct.
So I think Rob threw back a 6-pack and passed out.
Called it good.
Yeah.
Rob, what's your evaluation there? The story, we pretty much nailed it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we covered it. I don't even know. I don't think there's a whole lot of debate to be had. If anybody else watching got to look at those emojis, chime in.
Facts. All facts.
This is all facts. Joey Chestnut was there. It was a weird play. It was a weird play by him to sign up with a vegan dog maker. I mean, his last name is Chestnut. It's not,
beefsteak,
beef cattle or anything like that. Like it is a vegan type of name.
Yeah, so, I feel like Joey Chestnut, he's all about quantity, not quality. So it doesn't matter. It's vegan, whatever.
That's why we call you Sid Pork Chop.
That's it. Just go.
Right. That's why they call me Danny Tenderloin.
Yep. I do have a story about 3 beers, though. Do we have a moment?
Of course we do. Of course we do.
So, I went to Ireland. It was 5-6 years ago. I spent a couple of weeks over there, and I met a lot of interesting guys. What's interesting is there was a dude that I met. His name was Liam, of course. And he ended up moving to New York. And he moves to New York, and he lives in this little neighborhood. He's in Brooklyn. And he would go to the local pub. He didn't know anybody, but he'd go to the local pub every Thursday night and order 3 pints of Guinness. And the bartender is like, he says, what can I get you? It's like 3 pints of Guinness. And so the bartender brings him a pint, and he's like, that's not what I ordered. I need 3 pints of Guinness. Pour me 3 wee pints. And so he gets he's like, okay. So he brings 3 pints and sets them in front of him. And Liam would take a sip of one, put it down, take a sip of the other, take a sip of the third, and he'd go back and he'd repeat that until he drank all 3. And the bartender's like, hey, but look, they're not going to be cold by the time you finish them. What are you doing? And he's like, this is about tradition. He said, I just moved here from Ireland, and every Thursday night I'd go to the pub with my brothers, and we'd all have a pint of Guinness. So I'm drinking with my brothers. There are 3 of us, and we drink it together. And he goes, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. You're honoring your family. And so this got like every Thursday, Liam's in there with his 3 pints of Guinness doing the thing. And they just know, and they have them ready for him when he shows up. And then one night they come in and they give him 3 pints, and he goes, I only need 2 pints tonight, lad. And he goes, oh, and he takes a pint away. So Liam's sitting there, and he take a drink of one, take a drink of the other. And after a while, the bartender has kind of got to know him a little bit. And he goes over and he says, hey, Liam, I'm really sorry about your brother. You're like, I'm sorry. And Liam looks up and he goes, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, you only got 2 pints. I assume something must have happened to one of your brothers. So you're only having 2. He's like, oh, my brothers are fine. I quit drinking.
That's perfect. That's the best way to quit drinking.
That's right.
I think I can quit drinking just like that. I think I could play that game.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's so who we got? Rob is Sunset Hill window cleaning.
Rob at Sunset Hill. I think he's the man. He's blood. He's eating too much, shitting his pants, dynamite in the toilet, drinking some water to try to wash it down, putting out fires, drinking some beers.
All right. How do I get this gentleman in touch with me so I can give him a ticket? First, Rob, do you want a ticket to the huge convention? I got one reserved for you right now. Post in the comments, Rob. Yeah, smash that like button.
We can get a hold of Rob. I know how to get a hold of Rob. We can get in touch with Rob.
Cool. Yeah, let's get him in touch so I can give him a link and a code, and we'll get him set up.
Heck yeah.
Dan, I guess it's really enjoyable to catch up with you. It's been a minute. It's been a year.
It's been since last year at the huge convention, I reckon.
Yeah.
But
it's funny, we get into that rhythm of fast pace and a lot of time online, and then you're like, then crickets.
Just going. There he is. Rob says, yep.
We got you. Got your back. Dan's going to make the connection.
We'll get you, Rob. No, Sid, it's been fun. And for those that don't know, Sid and I were just BSing via text today, and I had a guest lined up, and the guest couldn't make it. And so Sid, the man, jumped in, so he saved the day on tonight's episode. So not only did he help bring some awesome content, but he also just saved the day. Saved the damn day. Worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for jumping in, Sid. I appreciate you. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out and having a beer with us. Huge convention, you guys. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, August 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the Gaylord, Nashville. It's a good party. I love that you guys are doing the music the first night. That's going to be a blast. There's going to be a crowd there. It's going to get rowdy.
It will be a crowd. I just threw a code in the comments. If anybody wants to buy a ticket and save $50, go to thehugeconvention.com, buy your ticket, use that code SG50.
SG50.
And like if you had to decode that, you'd probably go, must be Sid Graef 50.
Yeah, what does the SG actually stand for?
Yeah. Samuel Jackson.
Jackson with the G.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson. Jackson.
I'm the white
Sam Jackson.
Gerard starts with a G and it's J. Like, how come it can be Jackson with a G?
You're right. Why couldn't it be? It is now.
Yeah. All right.
It is now. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's end it before we go on the next run because it'll just keep going and we all have to go to bed.
I love it. Well, thanks for hanging out. Home service homies, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. Get your ass to the huge convention in Nashville in a month and a few days.
43 days. Let's go.
Have a beer for me because I can't go this year. I'm going to be out chasing animals and killing shit. I'll probably have to drink whiskey over there. It'll be hard hauling beer around.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. It's a problem I'm still solving. I can solve problems. All right, Sid. All right. I appreciate you, man.
Great to see you, Dan.
Peace.
See you.